Hello, my friends. It's After Hours on Beauty Uncovered, sponsored by Olaplex. And today I have my friend Lindsey DeMith on. Hi, Lindsey.
Hello, friend.
So, for full disclosure, Lindsey is my go-to person for all things running away, vacation, planning the piece that I need. Because she has extensive background in all of this. So, I mean, it's right now, April, right?
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I have to plan my vacations in advance, between kids, school times that I have to plan it out. So I want to know what is ideally you think that people should be planning? How far in advance should people be planning their vacation?
Oh, good question. So first, I think it kind of depends on destination, if it and length, like length of time that you're going. So if it's a real short place that's close by, you might only need a few months. I know
A
to
few
some people,
months, not
yeah.
a couple of weeks.
I know. So here's the thing. If you're crazy flexible, then you don't have to plan quite as far in advance unless you have like this list of things like, I really want to stay here at this location on the beach or this particular resort, or I really want to hit these things. Then you definitely got to plan further in advance. If you're like the spontaneous type that's like, hey, I'm flexible, it doesn't really matter when we go, how long we stay, where we stay, I just am ready to take off for like a short little adventure, then you're okay to do a little bit less time. But
Because
some
admittedly, sometimes you just like that time, you suddenly have like, oh, I can take that day off. Now, I know you were once talking to me about, it's okay to have a getaway that's not far away. Which
yeah,
to me, I feel like you got to change your entire, location.
scenery, like a whole change of scenery. Yeah.
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 So if you're going further, longer, and have specific things in mind, then I'm gonna say like 6 months in advance. You
Oh
need to be,
my gosh. I don't
yeah,
think
yeah, you
I,
need to be planning. I think people have been, not really going anywhere for a while. So
Mhm.
everybody's like ready to be on the move.
Mm.
And so things just get busier and more booked up. So that requires some more advanced planning. So
So where
yeah.
do you feel like is the big place that everybody wants to go to right now? I mean, in many ways, I feel like, oh, it's good to know where everybody's like really enjoying, but then there's also that part of me. It's like, okay, I'm just going to avoid that.
Florida.
Really?
Right where
Okay,
we are.
both of us live in Florida, so obviously we're not vacationing there. But really,
Yeah, so many people are vacationing in Florida, especially this time of year. You have an overlap of snowbirds and spring break.
mm,
So we're like the hot spot. Yeah, 100% Florida.
what about like in the Caribbean?
Yeah, the Caribbean, I think I think that it's definitely busy and definitely popular, but some people might have a little, question mark or hard time knowing what are the requirements in these different places.
Yeah.
Um, in this new day of travel. And it's not quite so easy to just book a flight and go. Like there's other factors that you have to take into mind.
So it's really
Um,
interesting. My best friend booked a cruise for her and her daughter. She was a nurse and working like a dog, and she
Mhm.
needed a break.
Yep.
And we were a little bit nervous because I don't know if this is just a Florida thing, and I don't even know if I should say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. So one of the things, because I live not far from where a lot of these cruises dock,
Yep.
um, every single year, every year I've lived here, there has always been, and this is even pre-COVID, a ship that comes in where they had an outbreak of something.
Mhm.
They just bark and they're like basically all over the county, kind of waiting until they can travel again because they're all sick. And, then the entire county gets sick.
Yeah.
It's like an epidemic, the stomach flu, whatever it may be.
Yeah, like norovirus is a big one, on cruise ships at times.
Yeah. So you wind up getting this like this shout out from the news, and you're like, okay, I'm going to be a shut in for like a few days until they're all gone.
But all eliminate home. Yeah.
Right. So when she said she was doing it, she did this back in February, and I was really nervous for it. And she said it was like obviously severely discounted at that time. Mm-hmm. And she said it was phenomenal. Now it only had like 30% occupancy in there, which was interesting. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of footwork. They had to have their, cards. They had to have a test before they went in. They had to have all these different things. And then they took a few different destinations. I think they went to Mexico, but they also went to, I don't know if it was Bahamas or Jamaica. It's one of those two, but there was an outbreak on the island. So there really was only like one or two little stores that they were allowed to go to, but they weren't allowed to go to the beach or anything like that. And they were like, not worth it. We're just going to stay here. They had a great experience. They enjoyed the ship and everything, but it is a little bit modified in comparison to what it used to be.
For sure. Yes, definitely. Not quite everything is open. They have different protocols in place to keep people a little bit more separated. They're really just like doing what they can to keep these ships sailing because they were docked for so long.
Yeah.
So I do have some friends, travel agent friends that have, cruised recently and had an amazing time. And the biggest thing they loved was that the ship was not super full. So they were really,
she's like, there's no lines for anything.
Yeah.
It was really, really, she enjoyed it so much. She wants to do it again. And admittedly, I've been kind of tempted to take a look at it as well for me and my son, because, just to get away and do something quick. And I've been like, I don't know if it's been progressing, but I feel as though at the time it was very easy to book those things.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people like, get online and do some research to narrow in where you want to go, maybe some things that you want to do. But I personally think that it's so important to have a trusted hairstylist and a trusted doctor, have a trusted travel agent. They are your travel advocate. It is their job to know all these restrictions and requirements and help guide you to make sure that you're having a great trip. They do the legwork and it doesn't cost you as the traveler anything extra. So it's like,
I've always been confused about that. When it comes to an agent, nowadays there's so many different websites that have all these great bargains and this, that, and that. And I always kind of feel like, buyer beware, because you don't really know for sure what you're getting. Yeah. But do you feel as though going to an agent, you still can get the best, not bargains, but like the best deals?
Oh, 100%. The site that, like, if you're going directly to a cruise line site or a theme park site or a resort site, the prices that you're looking at are the same things that they're looking at. However, they are knowledgeable on any promos or discounts that are, maybe if it's not available right at booking, they have their finger on the pulse of anything that may be coming out in between the time you book and the time you travel. So they're going to be the one that's saying, hey, there's a promo out now for this trip that you're going on. So I'm going to get online and see if I can get that applied to your package. Obviously, there's the fine print and the conditions. So maybe it doesn't apply to your specific package, but yeah, they're definitely for looking out for those deals. That's their job, is to make sure that not only are you having an amazing vacation, you're getting something that's, more than comfortable in your travel budget, being realistic, right? Like everybody's got to be realistic about it. And then also they're your advocate while you're traveling as well. Like if you have something that goes awry, yes, if you're right there, 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be really great to go right to the person at the desk on property that can help you. But you also have this travel agent with all the insider knowledge that can help you too. So definitely worth having a trusted travel agent. You want to start all the research and you want to be hands-on, great. They're going to let you. I mean, they're not going to say no, but it's just extra free knowledge and free information and someone else looking out for you that just brings a peace of mind too.
I know my
flyer.
So yeah, I know my friend's agent was really great, even just with something as simple as, you're supposed to go ahead of time to the cruise ship in order to get your testing done and sit around and wait until you can go on. And knowing like the mechanics of how they do all of that, they were actually able to tell her the best time for her to go so she could kind of breeze through, which was really, really nice too, Yeah,
100%. Even things like, your location on the ship, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, I see that, maybe what you found online is $100 less, but I'm telling you, you're really going to want to be over here on this side of the ship for $100 more. It's worth it because then, whatever, closer location to the kids club, closer location to, whatever is fitting for your family and your circumstance. So that's not knowledge that just quite everybody has, but a travel agent, they know, like that's their job to know and just help guide. But make sure it's somebody that you trust, make sure it's somebody that even if you don't personally know them, somebody else knows them, something like that, but it's somebody that you trust for their guidance.
So let's talk about like real life here, because, it's really hard sometimes to kind of take the time off. And you and I talk about this a lot. We're trying to get away and take the break because of the fact that so many of us are still working at home. Also, just life in the past couple of years have been rough and we haven't been able to get away. What would you say is the best way for people to get that time away? So the staycation has definitely become a thing in my life. And I know for a lot of my friends as well, where, we take the time off from work, but we're staying at home and, catching up on stuff and everything, but really getting away. You kind of, even if it's a few days, how would you tell someone to really kind of locate someplace that is, like you said, close by, even if it's a few days out of that time, to kind of get away and take care of yourself? Like, I understand that everybody has different needs, but let's say I need to take care of myself and be present.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is definitely change your surrounding, like my family camps, but we glamp. We're not roughing it by any means. But we'll go somewhere close by and, turn off the electronics, put the phone away, because that's the biggest distraction of trying to get sucked back into, let me just answer this really fast. Oh, but if I leave this and I come back next week, it's going to be behind. Your wheels start turning in your mind and it's hard to just relax. But I think just, if you can, we're big about day trips too. We'll take a day trip somewhere and just put all the electronics away, hop in the car and just kind of explore and find, some cute little downtown area with some little shops and restaurants and things like that. But I think there's a lot of ways that you can, I know we're guilty of living in a location, and we've lived where we live for 10 years. There are so many places within an hour of us we've never been, because it's right here. And it's local. And when we think we're going to get away, the immediate thought is away. Like we're going to go away somewhere else. So something that is going to be big for us this summer are just these day trips of all these cool places that are within an hour that we can just put the technology away, go be together as a family, and see something that's been right there, literally in our backyard.
All right. So I mean, being that you and I both live in Florida, and this is the big destination, but I mean, granted, I also feel like we're the big destination, but there are certain places that people are always going to, one of them is with a capital D. But what I was going to say is, like, what are the top 3 places that you're like, you know what, this is a place I want to go and visit that I know has a reputation of being absolutely amazing. That's in Florida that you want to go to.
That I want to go to in Florida? Okay. Yes. So for me personally, well, I am at the house that has a mouse a lot.
I mean, you're talking to the girl that was there this past weekend. My family flew in and I went and visited them.
Yeah, we're there a lot. Something else that I really want to do, which is like 40 minutes from me, is I want to go to the Tampa Museum of Art.
Yes.
Like, I haven't been there yet, and that's crazy. Like,
I want to go to the Dali Museum.
Yes, the Dali Museum's amazing. Oh,
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's been a while since I've been. Let's see, where else? I mean, we want to go to like some, like a baseball game. We haven't done that in a while. That's not far.
And actually, my son was telling me, because he's visiting right now, and he was actually going to go to a baseball game in Tampa. And he's like, Mom, the tickets are really, really reasonable. It's like surprising. They're great seats. So it's like, ooh, that's refreshing, because girl, I'm from New York. Those tickets are expensive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I know. And it can be expensive. And we're a family of 5. So for us to go anywhere, it's like a small fortune. So yeah. I get it. We have a couple little aquariums around here. They're really like sanctuary rescues. But yeah, I mean, that's like 10 minutes down the street from me. And I've never been. And I have a 4-year-old that would go bananas over being there. So it's things like that, there's these places on our list that I'm like, how have we not done this? How have we not been to this? It's because we're always thinking when we have this time off, we're going to go away. We're going away. And it was actually my husband who reminded me. He's like, you always want to go to these places away. And that's great. I mean, I want to go too, but there's some cool stuff right around us. Like, let's check that out too. So we're trying to be more mindful of that.
I want to go to Wekiva Springs. I have not been there, and it looks so beautiful.
Oh yeah. 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 All the springs around us, tubing down the Rainbow River is amazing. And I mean, it's amazing. And we haven't been in like 7 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. All these really cool things right around us. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's great if there's people that are visiting to Florida, maybe take a look at even some of the other things that there are to offer. And there are a lot of them are really affordable too, which is really great. I think Wekiva Springs, something like $5 or something. It's like, really cheap. But I was going to say, even just looking at your neighborhood, the nature stuff is always a good one, but even, gosh, it's like you said, there are certain towns that I think of, even when I was living in New York, they're just these quaint little towns that you can find like cute Airbnb or just a B&B that are just wonderful to go and visit. Those are really great. Yeah. So what is your go-to thing to do when it's just you and your husband?
Ooh, well, we come over to your side, to the Atlantic side. So we're on the Gulf side. So we come over to the Atlantic side, and we'll just stay for the weekend. And I'll get online and kind of like Google some of the top favorite restaurants or, just different things around, and we'll just explore. I mean, we just kind of drive around a little bit and with a little bit of Google guidance of like some places to see and things to do. But even if we're just like, sitting at a park or something, just not with a head in a phone, not with work, not with a schedule, and just a change of scenery is so refreshing.
I need to think of that too. I
Mhm.
I need to be able, I did recognize it this weekend because I took off Friday. Granted, it was to Disney and my mom and 5 of my siblings were there.
Mhm.
And they were staying at like the trailers. They're not the trailers, what are they called? The cabins.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so it was kind of fun. We just wound up going to Fort Wilderness and having breakfast there at Trails End. And it's really funny because I think people get caught up in the big, the parks and everything.
Mhm.
I gotta be honest with you. I have not been to the parks in forever. I like hopping like hotels.
Oh, same.
I am a hotel hopper. I like going and eating at the different restaurants and seeing what they have to offer there. And especially like my brother, who sometimes even visits, I think he only goes to the parks every other year with his kids. It's very expensive. He has a lot of kids. And also he has one son that, has a heart condition. So sometimes the heat is a bit much.
Yeah.
So they have to really plan it.
Yeah.
So, but let me tell you, when they go camping at Fort Wilderness, they're in the pool, they're running around, they have horseback riding, they have this, they have that. It's actually really surprising the amount of stuff that the kids do. My older boys all hopped on a boat, went over to the Contemporary. They went some other place and played video games somewhere. They were just having a grand old time, and they didn't even feel like they needed to go to the parks.
Oh, I know. There have been multiple times that I have been with friends and that's what we do. We check out the resorts, go to the different little bars, go to the different little restaurants, go check out Disney Springs, like, all kinds of stuff that don't involve a park. And even people that are going and having park time, I always recommend, like, don't just, kill yourself going to these parks, like back to back to back to back, because then you're going to need a vacation from your vacation. Like,
yes.
Exhausted, like spend some time at the pool, spend some time, like, gosh, the boat that goes from resort to resort, or, ride the boat, it's relaxing. It's nice and, it's just nice and chill. So definitely.
And they're so cute. Like, they're so sweet. The ones that are running it. It's very funny because my brother, he has always been, they should just adopt him at this point. We'll just give him over. And he knows to the point where he goes there so often that some of maybe the bartenders or the waiters, they remember him.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. But the point is that he would go on the boats and he would have competitions with the person driving the boat of who had more Disney trivia, like random facts than the other. They're so funny. And we're always very proud of the person that's sitting in that boat, like that knows more than him.
Yeah, the cast members are wonderful. They really help make it an even better experience. We
had to go down the Disney rabbit hole, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. Can't help it.
Can't help it. It's funny because when I lived in New York, that was our thing. Growing up, my parents used to throw us in a station wagon and we would drive down. We would camp on the way down. We had a pop-up camper and we would go to Fort Wilderness and camp there. And those are some of my most fondest memories, other than the fact that I was completely terrified of Goofy, like to the point of where there are stories of infamy where I screamed and ran all over. I think it was at the Polynesian. I was going in circles.
Oh no.
Like to the point where I was running in circles and I was like passing Goofy at that point. It was just nonstop. And like, it was.
That's funny.
50 years old. They still don't let me live it down. Still. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a thing, huh?
Maybe
Forever.
that's what it is. No, those characters are a little scary.
Yeah, I mean, some can be for sure, but they're finally starting to bring back where you can actually like give them a hug. And so
That's
I'm
nice.
excited, for my 4-year-old, because when I took him a couple months ago, he wanted to meet Stitch so bad. Well, it had to be air hugs from far away. So he's ready for a repeat to actually really get to hug and meet Stitch.
That's
So
so cute.
it's cute. Yeah.
So cute. Well, I'm going to skedaddle. I think I think we covered a lot. I think there's some good ideas in where everybody can go and check out some stuff that's really locally, which is A, affordable, and B, quick. I feel like you can kind of even like plan that out on the quick.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then look, like if you don't live, in a like major metropolitan area or a vacation destination like we do in Florida, Google 10 best things to do in, wherever you live, whatever.
Iowa.
Yeah, wherever. There's Yelp has, all kinds of recommendations of stuff. Google will be your best friend of ideas of things to do. Ask your friends, like what are some places you go to, things like that. You don't have to live in a destination, vacation destination, or like in a large place to find stuff to do.
And maybe visit friends. Cause I got to say that the first vacation I took post pandemic, I needed a break. I needed some place to bring Gunner. We went and visited my friend Josie, and he's right outside of Philadelphia. And let me tell you, having friends that know that town inside and out, that was amazing. He took us to some of the most wonderful, obscure places you could possibly imagine. And I felt like I fell in love with the city. I'd never been to Philadelphia before. Fell in love with that city. Really
That's awesome.
nice.
I think the biggest thing is whenever you're choosing to get away, wherever you're going and for however long you're going, is to have an open mind and be flexible. Just keep the focus on I'm unplugging, I'm getting away, and this is going to be an adventure no matter what or where it is.
Yeah, because if you're going into it, going into it expecting I'm going to hit this, that, especially in today's world where you got to have a certain sense of flexibility, because I don't know about you, but even with flights, they're being pushed back like you cannot believe. 3 of my family members had their flights completely canceled trying to go home.
Oh,
horrible.
No. Yeah.
Horrible this weekend. So, I mean, you got to have a sense of flexibility. Otherwise, you're going to be stressed out from your freaking vacation.
Yeah. Bring out that inner sense of adventure. And no matter what you do and where you go, you'll have fun and relax. And that's the most important part, is getting that break.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming on, Lindsey. Always good to get your expertise.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And if anybody else is really interested in a particular topic, by all means, if you're on Apple, go ahead and write it in the comments. We want to hear from you. Or go on to Beauty Uncovered at Olaplex.com and tell us about what really makes your life beautiful, what things you do, what practices really make a difference in your life. And have a great week.